Hi, everybody. Miss Kennison here. So, this is going to be the start of part 3 of chapter 7. Okay. So, last we had left off here, we had Paul had changed into his civilian clothes. Remember, Paul is the narrator, he's the one doing the talking. Okay, the story's from his point of view. So, changed into civilian clothes to feel a little less like a soldier. He really wanted that break. And he was just feeling a little antsy and things like that. So remember, he was there with his father, and his dad's like, "Have you ever had to fight hand to hand combat?" And he's like, "No," and he gets up and he leaves. So that's going to be where we pick off from today. Okay, and here we have Paul. I've been startled a couple of times on the street by the screaming of the tram cars, which resemble the shriek of a shell coming right at you. Someone taps me on the shoulder. It's my German master. Well, how are things out there, Paul? Terrible, terrible, eh? Yes, it is dreadful, but we must carry on. You do at least get decent food out there, so I hear. You look well, Paul, and fit. He drags me along to a table with a lot of others. They welcome me, a headmaster shakes hands with me. So you come from the front. What is the spirit like out there? Excellent, eh? Excellent. Different people express to me how the war should be fought, but they clearly do not understand what it's really like. First of all, you have to give the froggies a good hiding. Now, shove ahead a bit out there with your everlasting trench warfare. Smash through the Johnnies and there will be peace. You're not able to judge. You only see your little sector. Completely rolled up, they must be. I find that I do not belong here anymore. It's a foreign world. So Paul's going to be kind of experiencing something that could be called like reverse culture shock. It's just totally different from what he's used to. Even though this was the life that he was living before the war, it shows how much he's really been changed by the war, feeling that this is like a foreign world and he doesn't fit in anymore. I prefer to be alone so that no one troubles me. These people have worries, aims, desires that I cannot comprehend. They talk too much for me. I must think of Kat and Albert and Mueller and Jaden. I go to my room and look at my books. I want to feel the same powerful, nameless urge that I used to feel when I turned to my books. Speak to me. Take me up. Take me, life of my youth. You who are carefree, beautiful, receive me again. He's really longing to feel that way he felt before the war. I wait. I wait. Nothing. Nothing. So he goes to those books, wanting them to kind of inspire him to feel like how he did again before the war. And he doesn't, nothing's doing it for him. So he just tosses the books aside. I go to the local military barracks to see my old school friend, Mittelstadt. He has just come from the hospital recovering from wounds from the front. There he is in charge of drilling recently called territorials. We sit in the barracks, and here is an atmosphere that I do not like, but with which I'm quite familiar. You'll never guess who's here. Cantorac. Cantorac, our old schoolmaster? Mittelstadt said that at first Cantorac tried to be friendly to him, but he would have none of it. Territorial Cantorac, stand to attention when you speak to your supervisor. After all, business is business, schnapps is schnapps, as well um, as you know well enough. Mittelstadt drilled Cantorac unmercifully, using old expressions from school. Would you like me to use my influence so that you can take an emergency exam? So, all of the things that like the teachers would say, like this former student of Cantorac, Mittelstadt, he's saying those back to Cantorac. So it'd be like one of you saying things to me like, I don't know, can you go to the bathroom, Miss Kennison? Things like that, kind of getting back at him. Mittelstadt's most personal abuse was reminding Cantorac of his past abuse of his students. Territorial Cantrek, 2 years ago, you preached us into enlisting. And among us, there was one Joseph Bem. Joseph didn't want to enlist. He was killed 3 months before he would have been called up in the ordinary way. If it had not been for you, he would have lived that much longer. When I see Cantrek, I'm scarcely able to stifle my laughter. He's wearing the second-hand tunic of a man who must have been a giant. On the march! About! Turn! Territorial Cantrek, do you call these buttons polished? Inadequate, Cantrek. Quite inadequate. Look at Botchker. Now there's a model for you to learn from. So again, really kind of getting back at the teacher. They really resent that he pushed the boys to enlist now that they see how awful it is. And he might have been a really awful teacher that they didn't like having either. So could be getting back at him for that as well. And in the trifles, never lose sight of the great adventure, Territorial Cantrek. Calling it a great adventure, probably going to be words from Cantrek that they're putting back at him. Has he tried to report you? Yes, but the CO just laughed at him. Besides, I'm sweet with his daughter. A man might well die easier after the army has given him such a stroke of luck as I have witnessed here. So even Paul is feeling pretty satisfied at the irony of Cantrek having to come back and serve in the military. It is a good thing I have my rations. I bring them to my mother, and in that way we all get something decent to eat. The days grow ever more strained. My mother's eyes are more sorrowful. 4 days left now. I go to see Kemerek's mother. Remember, Kemerek was the guy who died in the hospital after his leg was amputated, the guy with the boots. This quaking, sobbing woman who shakes me and cries out on me. Why are you living then when he is dead? Did you see him? Did you see him then? How did he die? I lied to her. He was shot through the heart and died instantaneously. I was beside him. He died at once. Will you swear it by everything that is sacred to you? Good God, what is there that is sacred to me? Yes, he died at once. Are you willing to never come back yourself if it isn't true? May I never come back if he wasn't killed instantaneously. I would have swore anything, but she seemed to believe me. She moans and weeps steadily. I have to tell how it happened, so I invent a story, and I almost believe it myself. As I leave, she kisses me and gives me a picture of him in his recruit's uniform. It is the last evening at home. Everyone is silent. I go to bed early. I seize the pillow, press it against myself, and bury my head in it. Who knows if I will ever lie in a feathered bed again. Late in the night, my mother comes into my room. She thinks I'm asleep, and I pretend to be so. To talk, to stay awake with her, to stay awake with one another, it's too hard. I can sleep enough later. Go and sleep, mother. You will catch cold here. I can't bear it no longer. I can bear it no longer. Are you much afraid? And be very careful at the front, Paul. No, mother. Yes, mother, I will be careful. I would like to tell you to be on your guard against the women of France. They're no good. Where we are, there aren't any women, mother. Perhaps you can get a job that is not so dangerous. Yes, mother, perhaps I can get into the cookhouse. I will pray for you every day, Paul. I get up and wrap a blanket around my mother's shoulders and lead her back to her bed. I have 2 pairs of underwear I have made for you. They are all wool and will keep you warm. And you must get well again before I come back. Ah, mother, mother, how can it be that I must part from you? Who else is there that has any claim on me but you? Good night, mother. Good night, my child. I ought never to have come here. Out there, I was indifferent and often hopeless. I will never be able to be so again. I was a soldier, and now I'm nothing but an agony for myself, for my mother, for everything that is so comfortless without end. I ought never to have come on leave. Mm. So that's going to be the end of chapter 7. A lot of mixed emotions right there. He loves his mom, he misses his mom, but it's almost like it's maybe too much for him to bear coming back. And he regrets even coming back on leave, and he sees how difficult, really how much that the war has changed him and how difficult it is being back in civilian life. Okay, with that, we will stop there.